Kumusta for me? This is Avor Joseph, and welcome to a brand new series that I might stick to called News I Deem Worthy Recap Weekly Edition, or News IDW Recap, or maybe just NIDW Recap. I'll have to think of something to name this, change incoming and change constant. You might ask, what is this? Well, I can tell you what this isn't. A credible news platform. Okay, I'm not into that sort of thing. I'm just a guy that wants to keep up with the news and needs some obligation to continue keeping up with the Filipino news, probably even world news, but as of now, just the things that interest me in the first week of June, which actually starts May 28th to June 5 or 3. I'm just numb to the many of the news stories that a lot of them covers, and so I want to condense them a bit for your viewing pleasure and also for moi. Now, a lot of my sources for the news are from ABS-CBN network, more specifically TV Patrol. I credit them with many of the information I will be basing everything towards. This is more of an editorial with less commentary thing for myself and myself only. The associations I'm associated with does not necessarily share my views, nor will these views be actually held by my future self, at least not necessarily. I'm open to many possibilities, and that does not include differing my held views from what I currently do and will be holding. So get ready for the news and news stuff. Though I must insist saying I'm not a journalist in the word's most principled state, okay? I'm not impartial or something. I'm not biased. Kicking off the first week of June, which actually starts from May 28th, so that's fun. Headlines for the day of May 28th. 2023. Luzon braced for impact for Bagyong Betty or Typhoon Mawar. DOJ supports amendment to CDDA of 2002. And the coup in the House of Representatives. Luzon braced for impact for Bagyong Betty. Luzon and numerous island groups braces for impact with a head-on collision with the tropical cyclone, locally and aptly named Bagyong Betty or Typhoon Mawar internationally. Numerous safety precautions and standby forces are made to aid amid the typhoon, with 71 diesel-fueled pumping stations of MMDA in NCR be ready for the upcoming storm to reduce flash floods or at least mitigate it to the best of their ability in the region. Bagyong Betty is the second tropical cyclone of the expected 20 to 25 typhoons that regularly pierce through the Philippines' area of responsibility. DOJ supports amendment to CDDA of 2002. DOJ's Remulla supports suggestion to amend the Comprehensive Dangers Act of 2002 in UN from urging of numerous organizations and commissions. Hell yeah, legalize it. Amphetamines like Adderall. Coup in the House of Representatives. Araya getting sidelined again after joining the Marcos flock. This comes after the Marcoses and current Speaker Romualdez took control of the House of Representatives. In a Facebook post by the former President and Pampanga Representative GMA, there's no hard feelings after being duped into thinking the First Lady supports the coup to take Romualdez out of the position of Deputy Speaker of the House, orchestrated by someone, citing harmony between the legislative and executive branch as an important fact to keep the government running smoothly, and that Marcos seems to be more comfortable with Romualdez than her at the job. With which I say BS, it's just nepotism. Do you know how much she sacrificed? Her morals. I don't think she has that, but whatever. This is what she said. When President Marcos won, I wanted to aspire for the speakership of the House, but it soon became apparent that he was most comfortable with then Congressman Martin Romualdez as Speaker. I quickly realized the wisdom embedded in that statement. What a pompous rationalization. Favoring your cousin just because. The legislative branch of the government and the chambers within it should counterbalance the power of the executive. I'm not saying they should be hostile to each other, but just independent. If there's collusion between the executive and the legislative branches of the government, then there would be an imbalance of power concentrated at the top. If they're chums with whoever is in charge of the House of Representatives, not to mention their nepo babies, not the good kind, it would undermine the independence of the branches. The mandate given to them was a mistake of the populace. I can't doubt the politics will be the same old, but damn, at least hide it. It insight why he wanted Romualdez as the Deputy Speaker of the House, and it's not like PBBM and GMA are at odds. It just doesn't make sense, except he wanted to put his stewards and close allies, both in blood and politics, to his side, to positions of power. Headlines for the day of May 29, 2023. Bagyong Betty strikes Luzon, Liquefied and Gassified Sibuyas, Marogong Relocation amid terrorist threat, PNP Drug Enforcement Group Unabolished, and the oil spill at Mindoro valued at 9.5 billion pesos. Bagyong Betty strikes Luzon. Typhoon Betty prompted many provinces and island municipalities to stage relocation for will-be-affected groups by the incoming surge of the cyclone, with many interruptions in life, economy, and commodity interruption with regards to relocations and disruption of normal life, fishermen and grid lines at risk, damage from the tropical cyclone. Liquefied and Gassified Sibuyas. A container containing smuggled onions from 2019 seemingly disappeared out of thin air. The truck completely empty. The anomaly was said to be reasonable, however, the NBI has started to investigate the case with possible malice for selling said onions by the authorized destroyer of the smuggled goods to the market, which was apparently a big no-no. Marogong relocation amid terrorist threat. The residents of Marogong, Lanao del Sur has been relocated amid terrorist threat of an ISIS-affiliated group called Dawla Islamiyah that aims to instate an Islamic caliphate under a strict interpretation of Islam. The threat planning to bomb the town was after the arrest of their 4 members. PNP Drug Enforcement Group Unabolished. According to PNP, the PNP Drug Enforcement Group, which caught a severe case of litany of alleged corruption, which prompted the urging of DILG Secretary for mass courtesy resignation from the lowest to the highest rank of the PNP, will not be abolished. We'll see how far that will last and how scrutinized the selection process will actually be. Oil spill Mindoro at 9.5 billion pesos. An estimated 9.4 billion peso worth of coral reefs are destroyed and an additional 120 million destroyed from mangroves due to an oil spill caused by the sunken oil tanker last 28th of February. The owners of RDC Rail Marine Services and the oil tanker that destroyed and disrupted the lives of our fellow 41,000 Mindoroans, with the oil tanker carrying around 800,000 liters of industrial fuel oil, has issued a long overdue apology which definitely makes up for the multiple months of nature, social, and economical life in the island's destruction of the area. Great, now forgive them. Apparently, they are culpable of harm unfathomable, yet what will they be punished like for real? Headlines for the day of May 30th, 2023. NGCP refund urged by senators and Clark Development Corporation assumes failure in identifying unregulated POGO hubs in the Panga region. The NGCP refund urged by senators. Senators urged and blasted NGCP for refunds after numerous projects was delayed while being paid on time. According to Senator Gatchalian, 79 projects were delayed, of which 6 are of national significance, for since its founding in 2009, the NGCP has yet to receive a fine for delayed project. Clark Development Corporation assumes failure. The Clark Development Corporation, or CDC, has assumed its failure to safeguard and clear the lapse of the region of an unregulated POGO hub in Pampanga, which primarily operates as a scam hub, urging cold calls to invest in bogus cryptocurrency. This is where the news on May 5's 1,090 lives saved from human trafficking comes in. However, I have yet to finish the news for the month of May. It's just too big and I don't think it will be finished anytime soon. Probably at the end of the year. And these are the headlines for the day of May 31st, 2023. Maharlika Investment Corporation, 13.91 trillion pesos in debt. Malacañang opens old houses. 3 Dabarkads leaves 8 Bulaga. 13.91 trillion in debt. The Philippine national debt has ballooned to around 14 trillion last April, according to the Bureau of Treasury, up 54 billion in just a month due to interest in foreign debt and the weakening of peso against the dollar. Contrast that to the MIC, or Maharlika Investment Corporation, or Maharlika Investment Fund, being quite unilaterally passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives. Malacañang opens old houses. Malacañang opens for public visitation some old and historical house and mansions around the palace complex. Along with that are some carefully placed propaganda glorification of PBBM's life in an exhibit. 3 Dabarkads leaves 8 Bulaga. 3 Dabarkads leaves 8 Bulaga because of some arguments with the production company trying to phase them out slowly. I don't want to tell you everything because I don't really care about it. Only probably up until 2024, until the tapes agreement with GMA's noontime slot expires. Maharlika Investment Corporation. The now approved in the third reading of the Senate's controversial bill by the Tahimik Lang candidate entitled Maharlika Investment Fund, or Senate Bill 2020, which is marked as urgent by PBBM. The Senate's minority of 2 candidates, Rizal Taveras and Kaagapay, was bereaved of questioning and litigating the project and its proponent, along with intentions and the logic behind the bill. The Senate voted 19, 1, 2, 2, with Nancy Binay abstaining, Rizon Tiveros and Coco Pimentel naying, while the absentees are Chis Escudero and Aimee Marcos. The bill was passed in the middle of the dawn, away from the public after 12 hours of deliberation at 2:32 a.m. In the Senate's version of the bill, which was fastly and mostly definitely loosely adapted by the House of Representatives with Villar as its proponent, has a 500 billion peso budget. Only at most 25% of the net worth of Land Bank and Development Bank of the Philippines, or DBP, which I thought there would be a merging of, the national government and Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas as the primary source of seed capital, along with government financial institutions, or GFIs, and later on PAGCOR and GOCCs, or government-owned controlled corporation. There would be a special audit every 5 years. The 9 board of directors shall have no pending cases. There would also be a joint congressional oversight committee to keep the board in check. The BSP will also not be going to assure the bonds by the MIC. So I don't understand who will buy said bonds if it's not as risk-free as a normal treasury bond, considering the interest rate for the bonds are at like an all-time high. Don't quote me on that. Yes, I was once a proponent of that type of investment fund, or even only public projects back then. However, it's more nuanced since I don't trust the person that labeled it as urgent. The climate has changed, and the volatility of the market, the room for corruption, especially under cronyism and complacentness of bringing a pedaf and dictator's son to corruption, would be incalculable. Give it to BlackRock as our management firm for the MIC. At least we get to have a piece of the investment pie. These are the top headlines for June 1, 2023. Gay Month Corporation starts milking everyone gay. NWRB reduces Maynilad and Manila waters by 2 cubic meters per second. MIF bill can be brought up to the Supreme Court, and Kaagapay exercises in Mariveles, Bataan in full swing. What's up, guys and lesbos and trances and queeros or something? In addition to, NWRB reduces Maynilad and Manila waters by 2 cubic meters per second. The NWRB will be reducing the allocation of waters of Maynilad and Manila water from the Angat Dam starting June 16 to 30 in an attempt to mitigate the risk of over-extraction, which may cause water depletion to alerting levels due to El Nino. MIF bill can be brought up to the Supreme Court. The non-yaying senators support bringing up the MIF bill to the Supreme Court, citing the test for economic viability of such an enormous bill and the hastiness of which the bill was discussed by the Senate and adopted by the House of Representatives, so that would be fun. Kaagapay exercises in Mariveles, Bataan is in full swing. Joint Kaagapay maritime exercises of the Philippines, US, and Japan with Indian and Australian observers commenced for exercises in search and rescue operations, along with according to maritime law. The PCG reiterates that this is not about the dispute in the West Philippine Sea and South China Sea. These are the top headlines in June 2nd, 2023. PNR stations to be shut down. Gov PH app launch. 45% optimistic of better life according to SWS survey, and RCEP a knife in the back. PNR stations to be shut down. PNR stations to be shut down from Calamba, Laguna to Alabang, Muntinlupa will be shut down on July 2 to 2028 for the construction of the North-South Commuter Railway, which may put more pressure to the already crumbling and barely surviving transportation infrastructure in the Greater Manila area. Another section of the railway will also be closed down around October from Manila to Alabang. The North-South Commuter Railway aims to cut travel time in half from Clark, Pampanga to Calamba, Laguna. Commuters will have to find some alternatives to the railway. Gov PH app. The Gov PH Super App, terrible name by the way, was launched together in the opening of the National ICT Month, promoting digitalization and modernization in the ICT sector, both in governmental service, security, financially, and record keeping. The DICT signed a Memoranda of Understanding with 26 governmental agencies, and many more to come, and serve as a one-stop shop platform for all governmental services. The app enables users to pay taxes, renew license, apply for permits, register SIM cards, file a complaint or report, store government-issued IDs like an e-wallet of sorts, airport, tourist spot information, nearest hospital or malasakit centers, and many more to come. 45% optimistic of a better life. A recent SWS survey found that 45% of Filipinos are optimistic of better life in the next 12 months, while the other 46% says nothing will change. RCEP, a knife in the back. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which aims for free trade, lowering or even eliminating tariffs that protect local products and free flow of goods both in and out of the country. However, many signals worry due to the inherent incompetitiveness of the agri-fishery and forest sectors of the economy, which could kill local businesses after struggling to stay afloat for decades of neglect with the little to no substantial governmental assistance that they have been pining towards for millennia. This may kill local businesses and widen the trade deficit we have with other countries due to imminent influx of imported goods in the country. The Philippines will be joining the RCEP, China, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Singapore, Vietnam, Brunei, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. And lastly, the headlines for June the 3rd, 2020. 100,000 UP hopefuls takes UPCAT, maritime exercises China welcome, buoy lays land claims for the Philippines. 100,000 UP hopefuls take UPCAT. It has been 3 years since the start of the pandemic when UPCAT was replaced temporarily by UPCAT, where your admission chances will be on the hands of your past self and their apathy in learning from 8th to 11th grade. I myself was one that did not pass the UPCAT back in 2022. Passed PUP, but out of the 100,000, only 10,000 will be accepted according to UP Office of Admission. Maritime exercises, China welcome. After the joint trilateral Kaagapay maritime exercises, the Philippine Coast Guard encourages and says they're open to conduct maritime exercises with China along with other countries. 3 countries' exercises will last until the 7th of June. Buoy lays land claim for the Philippines. 10 buoys released last month which outlined the borders of the West Philippine Sea remain. This is an important step taken by the PCG to assert our territorial truth, a signal we will not be taking it lying down. Salamat sa panonood mga kabayan. For me, like this video, subscribe and follow my links in socials, and for Joseph, that will be linked down below. Suggest some more topics and or corrections to the news if you feel I misrepresented them in any way, shape, or form. This video purely serves as a summarization of news I deem worthy for myself, and sometimes the news week wasn't too explosive and I had to lower down the entry, so yeah. So susunod muli, paalam.